Welcome to Top Grade. My name is Spencer Miller, and today I'll be sharing with you a selection of Canadian picture books for the winter 2021-2022 season. I have so many great picture books to share today, so let's get started. Our first selection today is actually a series from Beach Street Books. Canada's Pandemic Heroes takes a look across Canada to see how people responded to the COVID-19 pandemic. With bold text, highlighted words, and a glossary of term, these books will help the youngest readers to learn about the important role that Canadian workers had in fighting against COVID-19. Discover how the research and services provided by doctors, nurses, mental health workers, paramedics, researchers, and teachers help keep Canadians safe from coast to coast. I Hear You Forest from Greystone Kids is written by Callie George and illustrated by Carmen Mock. It is a story about a young girl who goes for a nature walk in the forest with open hearts and open ears. She listens to everything around her. She listens to the sounds of insects buzzing, to the sound of wind blowing through the leaves. And the more that she listens, the more that she learns. This book is a wonderful introduction to outdoor education that will help teach empathy and connection to all living things, as well as mindfulness and appreciation for the world around us. I know it's going to inspire a lot of nature walks, and that as soon as kids are done reading, they're going to want to head outside and pay a little bit closer attention to the world around them. Lights, Day and Night from Kids Can Press is written by Susan Hughes with illustrations from Ellen Rooney. Over the course of a summer, a young girl and her pet cat learn all about how lights work in this accessible, kid-friendly introduction to the science of light. Inspired by watching a firefly glow, the pair investigate many fascinating aspects of light, including natural and artificial light, the many uses of light, how light can be absorbed, reflected, and refracted, the meaning of opaque and translucent and transparent, how the eyes see light, and why some animals need less light to see than humans. There is so much in here. This book does a wonderful job of introducing young readers to important scientific concepts through storytelling. This book is highly accessible, and even though some of the concepts sound complicated, this book does such a good job of breaking them down, making them easy to read and easy to understand. My favorite part of the book actually comes at the very end. There is instructions for a shadow puppet show, a wonderful activity that readers can continue to do once they're done reading, either at home or in the classroom, to continue just getting curious and exploring and playing with light on their own. Our next selection, The Dancing Trees from Inhabit Media, is written by Massiana Kelly and illustrated by Michelle Simpson. This is a story of a young man named Thomas who loves to tell stories himself, big stories. In fact, Thomas is a little bit boastful and a little bit exaggerated in his descriptions of his own abilities to live on the land and survive by himself with no help. And so his friends challenge him to prove it and to spend the night alone in the forest. And as Thomas takes them up on their challenge, he really takes advantage of the forest around him. He rips off branches from the trees to make his shelter. He pulls off bark just to entertain himself. And he litters wrappers from his snacks all over the forest floor. When he goes to sleep that night, the trees aren't very happy with him. And to teach him a bit of a lesson, they get up and dance around so that in the morning when Thomas wakes up, he has no idea where he is. And it's not until Thomas learns to kind of clean up after himself and treat the forest better that the trees forgive him and help him to find his way home. This cautionary tale for young readers helps remind them the importance of taking care of the land that they live on and appreciating all that the land gives us. A really important message for readers, no matter which part of the country that they're living in. The Loudest Bark from Rebel Mountain Press is co-authored by Gail Marlene Schwartz and Lucy Gagnon with illustrations from Amélie Oyette. Samuel knows that their true name is Simone, but things at their house are too quiet to think about how to tell their parents. When Chloe, a costume designer, moves in across the street with a dog about to have puppies, life becomes bigger, more colorful, and louder. Chloe, who becomes Simone's babysitter, invites Simone to play dress up and try on all of her costumes for work. Simone gets to try new hairstyles and makeup and has such a blast exploring these new ways of expressing themselves. Soon Simone finds the confidence, with the help of Chloe and a new puppy friend, to talk to their parent about their true name. This is a sincere exploration of gender and identity, and at its core, it's about the joy of belonging and self-expression and creativity and sharing who you are with the people around you. In A Sky Blue Bench from Pajama Press, author Bahram Rahman returns to the setting of his homeland, Afghanistan, to write a tribute to the resilience and resolve of young children, especially young girls who face barriers in education. It's young Arya's first day back to school since her accident, and she's excited but nervous that she will be sitting on a hard floor all day with her new prosthetic helper leg. Arya's school has no furniture because all of the wooden furniture was burned for fuel during the war. And just as Arya predicted, her day is so uncomfortable, and she struggles to pay attention and get any learning done at all. But instead of giving up on her education, Arya decides to take matters into her own hands, gathering materials in her community. With the help of her friends, with the help of her mom and a friendly carpenter in town, Arya is successfully able to build a bench. She decides to paint it sky blue, a color which represents courage, peace, and wisdom. This book is also beautifully illustrated by Peggy Collins with these wonderful pictures that take up the whole page, full of little details that readers are going to want to stop and pay attention to. Peggy Collins really creates a whole world to go along with Bahram Rahman's story, one that is so full of heart and really does a beautiful job in paying tribute to young learners all over the world and the efforts that they go to embrace their own educations. Also from Pajama Press, Birds on Wishbone Street is written and illustrated by Suzanne Del Rizzo. Mo and her neighbors on Wishbone Street come from all over the world, and Mo loves getting to know them and hear their stories and learn a little bit more about their cultures and their interests. She's very excited when a new boy named Sammy moves into the neighborhood. He's recently arrived with his family from Syria after spending some time in a refugee camp. And while Sammy is a little slow to open up, he's a little shy, he does connect with Mo over their love for birds. One day while they're out during a cold winter day, they find a female cardinal bird that has almost frozen on the ground, and they rescue it and nurse it back to health with the help of some of their other neighbors on Wishbone Street. Wishbone Street is based off of a real street in Toronto, and author and illustrator Suzanne Del Rizzo hopes to remind us that everybody has a story, everybody has something to share, and that our communities become stronger as we are open to hearing each other's stories and supporting each other's cultures and making sure that everyone feels welcomed and safe. This book is beautifully crafted. I love the clay art. I have always loved picture books in this style that have so much texture and depth. It almost makes you want to touch every page as you read. Also, I love in the back of the book, there is instructions for making your own bird feeders and bird nesting sites for birds in the wintertime. Another great activity to help readers engage beyond the pages of the book. Our final book for today is The Sour Cherry Tree, published by Owl Kids Books. It is written by Nassim Raab and illustrated by Nahid Kazemi. The Sour Cherry Tree is an authentic look at death and loss centered on the experiences of a young child that is both strikingly whimsical and matter-of-fact. While wandering through her grandfather's house, a young girl finds objects that remind her of her special relationship with her grandfather. These items and objects include teacups, slippers, mint candies, bathrobes, and pieces of poetry. The young girl lets us know that her grandfather was a poet in his home country of Iran, and that her and her grandfather did not in fact speak the same language, but connected through these everyday objects and the treats and moments that they would share with each other. I love the illustrations in this book that appear very hand-drawn. You can see the texturing and the pencil lines. It feels like a real labor of love. This story that draws on the Iranian-Canadian author's own childhood memories is a real tender meditation on grief. It explores the way that love can transcend barriers, whether those barriers are language barriers, cultural barriers, or even the barrier of death. It reminds us that those who we love never really leave us, and that we can always cherish the memories of our loved ones and hold those memories dear and close to our hearts. Thank you for watching. We love hearing from you. Please leave us a comment letting us know which of these picture books you're excited about bringing into your classroom this year. If you have any educator friends who you think would enjoy this video, share it with them. And if you would like to receive more top grade content directly in your inbox, please please sign up to our newsletter at the link in the description below. We also want to give a big thank you to Ontario Creates for their continued support of the program.